Exactly. And now you've got youngsters coming forward that have been brought up with the greening program who are talking about voluntarily sterilizing themselves. That's exactly what the victim is meant to do. He'll believe the propaganda and he will acquiesce and go under. They want to kill off the old type, but that's us, the old type of humanity, the imperfect type species, and bring in a new perfected slave system to serve them better. But they won't have to use propaganda on, because you won't be able to think as an individual human being. It'll be impossible to think individualistically. At the Loyola with Science conference they had, kicked off by Newt Gingrich a few years ago, he talked about giving us the brain chip, and he says, when this is done, he says, it'll be no longer possible to think as a distinct, separate individual. He said, think of it more like the hive. You'll hear all this buzzing in your head from the central computer giving commands to those around you and to yourself, and then back again. So you hear. Well,
that's what the Pentagon said in 2000 that the Federation of American Scientists put out. It was really from 93. They said their job by 2025 would be inserting themselves, the last of us, into the hive chambers as described in the Matrix. See, they didn't make that up in the Matrix.
That's right.
In the movie, it's the Grand Architect, basically Lucifer. And folks, you can't make this up. These people are totally insane, but they're doing it. Alan?
And also, you had the Borg in Star Trek series, where everyone is part cyborg and chipped, and the Queen Bee controls them all, and their ship was even called the Hive. You know, so this is they give you all this subliminal programming to accept what's coming, and you don't consciously think through it, and then when it really happens, it's kind of familiar to you, so you go along with it. That's the programming through.
Meanwhile, Mr. Shatner. William Shatner's big into all this and admits that's the plan.
Yes, he's all for it himself, you know. He thinks he's one of the superior ones, and he belongs to the transhumanist society and gives talks to them, yeah.
You know, it sounds all so amazing, but we have an amazing life. We live on this incredible planet spinning through the galaxy. There's all these wonders all around us. It's 2008. We're living in a science fiction nightmare. But there's also all these great things around us, and we don't have to go along with it, folks. I know all this sounds crazy, but it's their own words. It's their own admissions. It's...
Mm-hmm. You see, since the 1960s onwards, they had done so much to gradually, step-by-step, dehumanize society, destroy the family completely, and destroy even conversation between people. Everyone sits and watches TV, and even those in the room don't communicate unless they're talking about what they're seeing on television. And what you're fed is degrading stuff, getting more and more degrading. And when you're apathetic and degraded, you're easily managed. And even that the language itself has become minimalistic. They've taken so many words from the average person's vocabulary, they can't convey an idea, and you're the perfect target, then you can't convey your thoughts to another.
Alan wants my guest, your phone calls, straight ahead. This is the one, the only, GCN Radio Network. I'm Alex Jones, the tip of the spear in the info war. We all need your support. We're all in this together. This is the fight for humanity, the fight for humanity's future. We'll be right back. Remember, the New World Order staged the September 11th attacks. The first World Trade Center attacks in 93 as well, the Oklahoma City bombing. And there's countless others, like Gulf of Tonkin, USS Liberty, Operation Gladio, where they admit what they've done. Hitler brought in his tyranny by burning down his own Capitol building. I believe they've done something similar here in Austin, Texas. Just a heads up to everybody. I'm going down there 15, 20 minutes after the show ends, so at about 3:30 Central. I'm going to be down to the governor's mansion trying to survey things. They try to tell me I can't have cameras and be getting video of it. I bet they're already trying to cover it up, so we can't see evidence of what they've done. 95% chance they've done it. I mean, out of that 95% chance, I would say an 80% chance out of that it was arson by the government, by a criminal element. That maybe there's a 15% chance that it was something in the construction that caused it, and they're just hyping it, saying it's terrorism, saying it's arson. But the DPS had come out saying that they were going to switch over to mainly, quote, fighting terror, the imaginary boogeyman that is suppressing the public. When you hear that, that means the terrorists running your life, turning the state police into total thug goons, as they've already been converting. They used to be a lot nicer. Now they're really getting bad. It's really a shame to see this happen. The government's training your kids to be tattletales on you. They're sucking blood from you at checkpoints. You see, they're not going to stop, folks. They're not going to stop with 9/11. They're going to keep going. They're not done. They're not going to give up. They're not going to give in. This is life and death, and I realize that. I mean, I am totally into this fight. We don't have a choice. None of us have a choice. We can't just sit here and let them carry out eugenics and rationing and microchipping against us. Alan, how do you see them? We're going to go to calls from Australia to Colorado, California, North Carolina. But how do you see them trying to get the public ready for the chips? I mean, I know they've made the military do it now, most of them. That's now admitted. The unbelievable has now happened. I guess to have a job, you're going to have one, to be a trusted traveler, you're going to have one. That's what Bilderberg was saying. You know, you're going to get special perks if you take it. I mean, I guess I'm answering my own question, but anything else you want to add?
Yes, they'll also hype it up. There was also an article put out a little while back there from the major drug companies to do with chips will save us all in times of pandemic. And because you're able to scan you, and that chip will tell them if you have a fever and possibly are carrying a plague. So they've got a whole bunch of scenarios they can use to make us take this thing or try and convince the public. And as you say, you'll get little perks if you go along with them. And no doubt, too, you'll be shunned by society if you don't go along with them. We find the drug companies are already putting ads out there to get, for instance, the flu shot. And if you don't take your flu shot, the ad stops and it says you could put the rest of the community at risk. This is the creation of what they call social acceptance and non-acceptance. They copied this system from China to do with abortion, where they get society to turn against you because you're the odd one out. You're a threat to them. And so they're using the same technique.
Peer pressure.
Yes. And
let me just add a point here. We've got a story up on Infowars.com named Bilderberg Goon with a Gun. And people are saying, why is it a still shot from a YouTube video? Why don't you show the actual video? Well, let me explain something. We've got about 60 hours of footage that 4 of us shot while we were there. There were hundreds of other people there. I got in at 12:30 last night. My plane was delayed for an hour and a half. This is not our footage. We got the same footage. I saw them with the guns. We haven't even had time to dump our footage to the computer or put it up. This is other people that were there putting up YouTube videos of what I saw and reported to you days ago, them flashing the MP5s at us. So they're in the comment section saying, it's blurred. You can't tell it's a gun. It's not a gun. It's a seatbelt. No, they had guns. They had them out. They were aiming them at us. We have clear video of it. We're not a million people. We actually have to do this work. Like, I'm going to have to get in the car and drive down there to investigate the governor's mansion, even though I haven't seen my children, because I just got home last night. Saw them briefly this morning in 5-6 days. I'm not whining. It's just I'm not Superman. I'm not Superman. And this morning, I saw that somebody put up the video of the guns I saw. So I told Kurt, I said, get a screenshot of this. He did the best job they did. If you don't like the fact that it's not that clear, you need to have been out there and get video of it. It's just, and I'm not complaining. It's that they've trained the public, even our own people, to never do anything themselves, but then nitpick and demand everything else out of us, Alan.
Yes, they have, and again, people live on fiction, and our generation has been reared watching cops smash doors down and so on in movies and in dramas and real-life things, and those youngsters want to be on the winning team. This is an instinctive survival thing with all youngsters, and the heroes to them through the video game, from the military organizations, that's where the videos all came from, to all the programs they watch with their superheroes, the guys dressed in black. That's what they want to be. Well, now we have a generation who are in the police and in the military with the toys and the guns, and they think nothing about turning that gun on you. They think nothing about it. They're being conditioned that you're not a human being, you're just a target like the video games. And believe you me, they will do what they're told. That's the unfortunate thing. They're like robots already.
Yeah, another issue is we have InfoWars posting open to everybody. It's a First Amendment forum that allows our enemies and detractors to come in and say, I'm an agent, you're an agent, everybody else is an agent. No, that's what agents do. They go around telling you all these things. They're in there. And before we've tracked the ISPs, it's government most of the time, saying, let's get the government, let's kill them, let's do that. We're not saying that. And again, we have the feds in there trying to destroy free speech by posting these type of things. And again, I had Fed after Fed come up to me and say, come on, Alex, you know we need to get violent. And I just look at him and go, man, knock it off. You're such a traitor to this country. I mean, how do they get these feds to be so criminal?
It's not so hard. We have, again, it's to do with the psychopathic type people at the top. They give you a psychopathic culture which we live in and we emulate. And success is getting to the top by any means possible. We worship, look at the television, they worship the stars. They worship people who are multi-millionaires, the rich and the famous. And this is what you've been taught to worship. It doesn't matter how they got up there, how many they destroyed to get up there, as long as they got there. This is what we're given. So we have a psychopathic culture. And these characters who get well paid, Lenin said this, he says, first we must pay the police well and the military, then the teachers, because they all have to do with social control.